Alrighty guys, welcome to episode 1 of our Behind the Build series. Now before we jump into our very first episode, we wanted to quickly explain our vision for this series. So I've got 22 seconds on the clock. Let's do it.
Alright, so in our main build series, we want to be covering all of the really fun, juicy, entertaining bits and be making kind of 5 to 10 minute videos that you can sit through and watch through nice and quick, and anyone who lands on the channel will really enjoy. Whereas the Behind the Build is going to be a really in-depth look. You'll get to see a bit more of us and our personality and just everything it takes in detail to really build a car like this and to get it on the road.
Whew. Damn, that was right on time. Alright guys, episode 1. Alrighty guys, you probably saw this car in episode 1, 2, or 3, but since then we've done a whole bunch more work to the car. Starting back here.
Yeah, we're finally getting some panels on there, which is just really nice. It's starting to look like a car. This car was hit and this corner was replaced. And when they put the quarter panel on, they didn't quite do it right and they rushed it. And it wasn't sitting properly. The gaps were all wrong. It was sitting about a 1/4 inch wider than the tail light. So we actually had to kind of cut it in the middle here and rework it, and we did about 4 inches where all of this is just brand new metal through here. So we still have a little bit left, but it's getting really close. You can see just how much nicer that tail light's fitting there. So yeah, that feels really nice to get done. And this is all just loose right now. And then up here...
yeah, we threw on the doors. They're not quite fitted yet, but they're on there.
Yeah, they're pretty close. They're they're a little tight, but that's a really nice thing. Just when you're starting with a car like this and it's all in metal, you're not worried about scratching the paint. You're not worried about if there's filler underneath. We know exactly what we're working with, and we'll just make it fit. And that's really nice, I guess.
I started the engine bay shave up in the front here. You can see that it looks pretty awful. But so here's the stock side. So our plan was to fill all the spot welds, fill all these little seams here with metal, and right now it looks awful, but hopefully with some more grinding and welding it'll start to look a little bit better.
Yeah, see, on like some of our other engine bay shaves, typically with something like that we would have just filled it with filler or just like a bunch of high build primer, but we just wanted to try to do the best job we could on this one. And this is just kind of a little test area. We are going to be doing a whole video for you guys, at least one full video of doing all the patches and the whole shave. But this just kind of gives us an idea of what we're signing up for. Because this, I think even this right here was like, I don't know what, 4 hours?
Yeah, it's going to be a long time to do the whole thing.
Yeah, it looks really quick when it's on camera, but it is a painstaking process. And then other thing up here, we had the bumper support. And from experience doing these before, it's a pain in the ass when it's here and it's in the way of your knees. So we just went and pulled this out ahead of time, and it was just a good thing to do. So really happy we did that.
Yeah, so tonight the plan is to take the E30, throw it onto the hoist over there, and then take the RX7, put it in that corner. We'll put the RX7 on some jack stands, drop the front subframe, and then we're one step closer to getting that V10 in the car.
Yeah, let's do it.
we have got the car in place. We left a little bit of room between the car and the walls so that we've got some working room, because the car will probably stay here for quite some time once we remove the front subframe. So that's what we're doing next, and then we're one step closer to getting that engine in the car, which is super duper exciting. Let's do it. Alrighty, we got the subframe out of the car. It's looking very stripped down now. So I think that's all we're going to be doing for tonight. But tomorrow we're going to grab the engine crane, pick up the engine, and just get it ready. Final touches before we start to try to test fit this thing.
Yeah.
Alright, it's day 2. Car is ready for the engine. The engine is not ready for the car. We need to remove the exhaust manifolds because they're probably going to be contacting the sides of the frame rail. The shifter, we'll remove that so it's just not in the way. And then the oil pan, we don't necessarily need to remove it, but we're going to remove it anyways because we need to figure out how much of it we can notch out to have clearance for the steering rack. So we're going to remove all those guys and then get this up on the engine crane, start fitting that engine.
Okay, so we pulled these ones off because they're obviously not going to work for the car. And when we ordered the engine, we ordered these ones as well. So these are the manifolds for the SRT10 truck. And these have the collectors at the back, which should just be a lot better for what we're doing.
It's like a kind of like a log style.
Yeah. So these are going to be a little bit heavier than the Viper ones, but they're rated for the same amount of power, which is nice. So, but yeah, those are going to fit really tight to the block.
Yeah, that might be a little better, a lot better. I think for now we should probably just leave them off the engine and just kind of get the engine in the car, and then afterwards we can.
I totally agree. But yeah, look at that for the exhaust mock-up. That's going to be so much easier.
Yeah.
So we got the pan off of the engine. Now this is going to be one of the bigger challenges for the build because the engine is sitting too tall right now and the steering rack is interfering with the bottom of the front of the pan. So we have about 2 inches that we can cut out of the front of the pan just to get the engine sitting lower, which we're going to have to get all those 2 inches out of for sure. So we can either try to modify this pan or we can start from scratch and make a new pan. The challenge of modifying this one is that it's cast aluminum, so we don't really know if there's any magnesium in it or how challenging it's going to be to work on.
I guess first we should probably just bring this to our friend, see if he can weld it, because if we can just notch it in the front, then we don't need to mess with making an entire whole pan.
Yeah, that would save a lot of time.
But worst case, we can always just make a pan. If it means that the engine's sitting lower, then it's definitely worth it.
Yeah.
So for today, let's just not worry about this. Put the engine in the car and hopefully that goes well.
Yeah.